The research ship Memoriam floated quietly above the dead planet. Captain June looked out the window at the brown, dusty world below. Nothing had lived here for thousands of years, but his team had found something strange buried deep underground. Dr. Hannah worked carefully in the dark tunnels beneath the planet's surface. Her blue, crystal-like skin glowed softly in the darkness as she brushed dirt away from old bones. She had studied dead civilizations for 20 years, but this place felt different. Wrong, somehow. These bones are not like anything I have seen before, she said into her radio. Her voice echoed in the empty tunnels. The bones were tall, walked on 2 legs, and had big skulls that meant they were very smart. But they were also scary-looking. Minho, the young officer on the ship, watched the digging from his computer screen. Dr. Hannah, we are seeing more tunnel systems all around you. This place is huge. Hannah moved deeper into the ruins with her team. There were 6 different alien species working together. Some looked like giant bugs, others were like living water, and some were made of crystal like herself. They all stopped talking when they saw what was in the next room. Hundreds of skeletons lay scattered across the floor. But these were not the bones of the smart creatures they had been finding. These bones belonged to many different alien species, some with 4 arms, some with wings, some tiny, and some giant. They had all died at the same time, long ago.
Captain.
June, Hannah called up to the ship. You need to come down here right now. When June arrived 30 minutes later, he could not believe what he saw. The walls were covered with blast marks from weapons. Old metal pieces were stuck in the stone. Everything showed signs of a terrible battle. Look at this, said Vel, one of the bug-like aliens on the team. He pointed to marks on the wall. Yes. These weapon hits are in patterns. Someone planned this attack very carefully. Hannah picked up a strange metal object from the floor. It was clearly a weapon, but not like any weapon used in the galaxy today. It was simple, but looked very deadly. This is primitive technology, but it would be very effective in killing. As they explored more rooms, the team found the same thing everywhere. Signs of systematic killing. Whoever had done this had studied their enemies first, learned their weak points, then attacked with perfect planning. In the largest room, they found something that made everyone stop breathing. On the wall, carved deep into the stone, were symbols. Dr. Hannah had seen these symbols before in very old books that most people thought were just stories. These symbols spell out a word, she said quietly. Human. Humans are just myths, said Captain June. Stories to scare children. But as they kept digging, they found more evidence. Data crystals that still worked after 50,000 years. When they played the crystals, holographic images appeared in the air. The images showed the final days of the civilizations that had lived here. The recordings all told the same story. Ships had come from deep space, carrying creatures that walked on 2 legs. These creatures called themselves humans. They had studied each alien species carefully, learning everything about them. Then they had attacked with weapons perfectly designed to kill each type of alien. They were not just random killers, Hannah realized as she watched the old recordings. They were hunters. They enjoyed the challenge of hunting different types of prey. One recording showed a human face clearly. It looked almost like some species they knew today, but there was something in its eyes that was purely predatory. The creature smiled as it spoke, and its teeth were designed for tearing meat. We have studied your people for many cycles. The human in the recording said, we know your weaknesses, we know your fears. You cannot hide from us. Captain June felt cold as he watched. How many worlds did they destroy? The answer came from the ship's computer as it analyzed all the data. They had found, based on the carbon dating and the spread of similar artifacts, the humans appear to have eliminated 47 different civilizations in this sector alone. 47 entire species, whispered Minho from the ship.
All extinct, Dr. Hannah.
Found the most disturbing evidence in the deepest part of the ruins. It was a chamber filled with weapons and tools, but also with books and art. The humans had not just been killers, they had been intelligent, creative beings who had chosen to become the galaxy's most dangerous predators. They kept trophies, she realized, looking at sculptures made from the bones of their victims. They turned killing into an art form.
Ass!
The team prepared to return to their ship. One final discovery changed everything. Hidden in the deepest chamber was a message, carved in multiple languages, including human script. We go to hunt bigger prey among the stars. When we return, we will be stronger. The date on the message was exactly 50,000 years ago. The humans had not died out. They had left to find new hunting grounds somewhere else in the universe. And someday they might come back. Captain June stood in the main room of his ship, looking at dozens of glowing maps floating in the air. Each map showed a different planet where his team had been digging. Dr. Hannah had been working for 3 months now, and every new place they explored told the same terrible story. "Show me the timeline again," June said to his computer. The maps changed colors to show when each civilization had died. All of them turned red at exactly the same time, 50,000 years ago. 47 different worlds, 47 different species, all destroyed within a few years of each other. Dr. Hannah's voice came through the radio from the planet's surface. "Captain, we found another weapons cache. These humans, they did not use the same weapons on every species. They made special weapons for each type of alien they hunted." Minho, who was studying the weapon patterns, looked up from his desk. "Dr. Hannah is right. Look at this." He pointed to pictures on his screen. For the flying species, they used weapons that shot nets and electric bolts. For the underground species, they used poison gas. For the water creatures, they used sonic weapons that hurt their hearing. June felt sick as he understood what this meant. They studied each species like scientists. They learned everything about their prey before they attacked. On the planet below, Dr. Hannah was exploring a new type of building they had never seen before. It was full of books, computers, and laboratory equipment, but it was not a human building. It belonged to one of the extinct alien species.
This is
strange, she said to her team. The aliens here were very advanced. They had space travel, energy weapons, force fields. They should have been able to defend themselves. Vel, the bug-like alien, was examining the defense systems. "Look at this, Dr. Hannah. Their weapons were designed to fight other aliens like themselves. But the humans used completely different tactics. They found recordings from the final battle. The aliens had built huge walls and powerful weapons to protect their cities, but the humans had not attacked the walls at all. Instead, they had poisoned the water supply and waited. When the aliens came out looking for clean water, the humans had been waiting for them. They were patient, Dr. Hannah realized. They did not rush into battle. They watched and waited until they found the perfect moment to strike." Back on the ship, Captain June was receiving reports from other research teams across the galaxy. The news was getting worse with every message. "Captain," said Lieutenant Day from the communication station, "we are getting reports from 12 other archaeological teams. They have all found the same human artifacts on different worlds." The big screen in the front of the room lit up with a map of the entire galaxy. Red dots appeared wherever human artifacts had been found. There were hundreds of them, scattered across thousands of light years. Dr. Sola, who was the galaxy's best expert on extinct species, appeared on the screen from her laboratory on the capital world. "Captain June, what you have discovered changes everything we thought we knew about galactic history." "How so?" June asked. "We always wondered why so many species disappeared during what we call the Silent Purge. We thought it was natural disasters or maybe wars between aliens. But now we know the truth. It was one species hunting all the others." The data kept getting worse. Dr. Hannah found evidence that the humans had not just killed for food or territory, they had killed for sport. They kept detailed records of each hunt, rating how challenging each species had been to defeat. "Look at this," she said, showing a human book to her team. Even though the writing was in an alien language, the pictures were clear. It showed different alien species with numbers next to them. The numbers were scores, like in a game. "Turn genocide into entertainment," whispered Minho when he saw the images on his screen. The most frightening discovery came when they found human training facilities. These were places where young humans had learned how to hunt different types of aliens. They had practiced targets shaped like various alien species. They learned which weapons worked best on which aliens. It was like a school for murder. Dr. Hannah found something even worse in the deepest part of one facility. It was a nursery where human children had been raised. But instead of normal toys, the children had been given small weapons and dead alien creatures to practice on. They taught their babies to be killers, she said with horror in her voice. Captain June realized the full scope of what they were dealing with. The humans had not been just another alien species. They had been the galaxy's first and most successful predator species. They had evolved specifically to hunt other intelligent life forms. "Sir," said Minho urgently, "I am picking up strange signals from the edge of the galaxy. Long-range sensors are detecting something big moving toward us from deep space." June looked at the sensor readings and felt his blood turn cold. The signals matched the engine signatures they had found in the human ruins. Ships were coming. Ships that had been gone for 50,000 years. The humans were returning to their old hunting grounds. And this time, there were billions of potential prey waiting for them across the galaxy. The great meeting hall on the capital world had never seen anything like this before. Representatives from over 1,000 different planets sat in worried silence as Captain June stood at the center, showing them the terrible truth his team had discovered. Humans were not myths, June said, his voice carrying across the huge room. They were real, and they were the most dangerous hunters our galaxy has ever known. The holographic displays showed image after image of destroyed worlds, extinct species, and human weapons. Council member Yuna from the Arcturus system stood up, her forearms shaking as she pointed at the evidence. "You are telling us that one species killed 47 others?" she asked. "That is impossible. No single species could be that powerful." "Doctor?" Hannah appeared on the giant screen from her laboratory. She had been working day and night to understand the human artifacts. "Councilmember Yuna, it is not about power. It is about intelligence and patience. The humans did not fight fair battles. They studied their prey for years before attacking." Showed them a human datapad that had survived for 50,000 years. On it were detailed notes about alien biology, psychology, and culture. The humans had learned exactly how each species thought, what they feared, and how they would react in danger. "Look at this entry about the Zephyrians," Dr. Hannah said, pointing to a page covered in human writing. The humans knew that Zephyrians become paralyzed when they hear certain sound frequencies, so they built weapons that made those exact sounds. Commander Sola, who had studied extinct species her whole life, stood up to address the council. "We have been wrong about everything. The silent purge was not a natural event. It was systematic extermination carried out by master predators." The room filled with frightened whispers as the representatives realized what this meant. Every species in the galaxy had ancestors who had lived through the human hunting period. Deep in their genetic memory were warnings about the creatures that walked on two legs and killed for pleasure. Dr. Hannah showed them more evidence from the human archives. They did not just kill randomly. They had a plan. They would arrive at a world and spent months learning about the local species. They would capture a few individuals and study them like laboratory animals. The images that followed made many of the council members sick. Human laboratories where aliens had been dissected while still alive. Testing facilities where humans had experimented with different ways to cause pain and fear. Training grounds where human children had learned to hunt by practicing on captured aliens. "They were not just predators," said Captain June grimly. "They were scientists of death. They turned killing into an art form." Lieutenant Minho appeared on another screen showing data from across the galaxy. "Masters, we have now identified human artifacts on over 300 worlds. Every single one shows the same pattern. Complete extinction of the native species within 5 years of human arrival. The most disturbing discovery was how the humans had chosen their targets. They did not attack the strongest species first. Instead, they started with the weakest and worked their way up, learning and improving their techniques with each hunt. We're persistence hunters on a galactic scale," explained Dr. Sola. "Like ancient predators on Earth who would chase their prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. The humans would follow species across star systems, never giving up, never stopping. Council member Day, whose people had always been known as the galaxy's best warriors, looked pale as he studied the human battle tactics. These strategies, they are beyond anything we have ever seen. They did not fight to win territory or resources. They fought to completely eliminate their enemies. Dr. Hannah showed them the final piece of evidence that proved how dangerous the humans had been. It was a human ship, perfectly preserved in the ice of a dead world. Inside, they had found the ship's log, written in the captain's own words. "Have now hunted 47 species to extinction," the human captain had written. "Each hunt teaches us new techniques. Each victory makes us stronger. Soon we will be ready to leave this galaxy and find new prey among the stars." The date on the log entry was exactly 50,000 years ago, the time when all human activity had suddenly stopped. They had not died out or been defeated. They'd simply left to find better hunting grounds elsewhere in the universe. They grew bored with our galaxy, Captain June realized out loud. We were no longer challenging enough for them. The council chamber erupted in panic as the full implications hit everyone at once. If the humans were still alive somewhere in the universe, they might return someday. And when they did, they would be even more dangerous than before. Council. Member Yuna called for order, but her voice was shaking. What do we do with this information? How do we prepare for something like this? Before anyone could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the building. Lieutenant Minho's voice came over the emergency communication system, and what he said made everyone's blood freeze. Long-range sensors have detected a massive fleet approaching from outside the galaxy. The ships match human design patterns. They are coming back. The galaxy's worst nightmare was about to become reality. The apex predators were returning to their old hunting grounds. The warning sirens screamed across every world in the galaxy as the massive fleet appeared on the long-range sensors. Captain June stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the display with growing horror. Hundreds of dark ships moved through space like a pack of hungry wolves. "How many ships are there?" he asked Lieutenant Minho. "Over 800 vessels, sir. They're spread across a front that is 3 light-years wide. They are moving toward the core worlds in perfect formation." Dr. Hannah was still on the dead planet below, frantically searching through the human ruins for any information that might help them understand what was coming. "Captain June, I found something important. The humans who left 50,000 years ago were not the entire species. These records show that only their best hunters and warriors left the galaxy." The implications of her discovery hit June like a physical blow. The humans returning were not just any humans. They were the elite, the most dangerous predators of a species that had already proven itself to be the galaxy's most successful killers. Defense fleets from across the galaxy scrambled to meet the approaching threat. Admiral Yeon commanded the largest battle group, with over 2,000 ships from 15 different species. She felt confident that their superior numbers and advanced technology would be enough to stop the human fleet. The first battle took place near the Rigel system. Admiral Yen's forces surrounded a small group of human ships, outnumbering them 10-1. It should have been an easy victory. It was a disaster. "They are not fighting like any enemy we have ever faced," Admiral Yan reported as her flagship burned around her. "They adapt to our tactics within minutes. Every weapon we use, they find a counter for it immediately." Captain Day watched the battle from his command ship and could not believe what he was seeing. The human ships moved like living creatures, flowing around the alien attacks with impossible grace. When the aliens used energy weapons, the humans adjusted their shields. When the aliens tried missile attacks, the humans turned the missiles back on their owners. "It is like they can read our minds," Day said into his radio. "They know what we are going to do before we do it." But the worst part was not the human technology. It was their psychological warfare. The humans broadcast recordings from the ancient hunts, showing how they had destroyed species after species 50,000 years ago. They played the screams of dying aliens over all communication channels. Entire fleets surrendered without firing a shot as panic spread faster than the news of military defeats Ancient genetic memories awakened in species across the galaxy, filling them with primal terror of the two-legged predators. On the planet Kepler Prime, General Sola tried to organize the defense of her world. But when the human ships appeared in orbit, half her soldiers ran away in terror before the first shot was fired. "Stand and fight," she screamed at her troops. But deep in their genes, every alien species remembered what it felt like to be hunted by humans. The fear was stronger than any military training. Dr. Hannah found more disturbing information in the human archives. "Captain June, the humans are not trying to conquer territory. They are studying us, just like they did 50,000 years ago. Every battle they fight teaches them more about how we think and fight." The human ships did not attack major population centers or strategic targets. Instead, they focused on military installations and research facilities. They were gathering information, learning about how galactic civilization had developed. While they were away, Captain June realized the terrible truth. They are not here to destroy us quickly. They are here to study us first, then hunt us properly. This is just the scouting phase. On the bridge of the lead human ship, Captain Jin stood, looking at the tactical displays with satisfaction. The galaxy had grown soft during the 50,000 years of human absence. The aliens had forgotten how to fight against true predators. "How long until we have complete tactical analysis of their forces?" she asked her tactical officer. 3. "More battles should give us all the data we need," came the reply. "Their weapons are more advanced than when we left, but their tactics are primitive. They fight like prey animals, not predators." Jin smiled, showing teeth that were designed for tearing flesh. "Good. Begin Phase 2. Start taking prisoners for biological analysis. I want to know how each species has evolved since we left." Capture ships moved out from the main fleet, targeting isolated alien vessels. The crews of these ships were taken alive for study. The humans needed to understand the current strengths and weaknesses of each species before beginning the real hunt, Captain. June received reports of the captures with growing dread. They are collecting specimens, just like before. They are going to study us until they know exactly how to kill us most efficiently. Lieutenant Minho looked up from his sensor station with terror in his eyes. "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting even more ships arriving. The main human fleet is 3 times larger than what we initially detected." The truth was becoming clear. Humans had not returned to reclaim their old territory. They had returned to finish what they had started 50,000 years ago. This time, they planned to hunt every intelligent species in the galaxy to extinction. The galaxy's apex predators were back, and they were hungrier than ever. The final battle was about to begin above the capital world of New Harmony. Every remaining ship in the galaxy had gathered there, over 5,000 vessels from hundreds of different species. It was the largest fleet ever assembled, and everyone knew it was their last chance, Captain. June stood on his bridge, looking at the massive human fleet that had appeared at the edge of the system. But something was different this time. The human ships were not moving in their usual attack formation. Instead, they hung in space, waiting. "Why are they not attacking?" asked Lieutenant Minho, studying the sensor readings before anyone could answer. A communication signal came from the lead human ship. For the first time since their return, the humans wanted to talk. The main screen flickered to life, showing the face of a human woman. Captain Jin looked exactly like the ancient predators from the archaeological sites, but there was something different in her eyes. Instead of the cold hunger they had expected, there was something that looked almost like fear. "Galactic Defense Fleet," she said, her voice carrying across space to every ship in the system. "We need to talk." Admiral Yeon, commanding the defense fleet, responded cautiously. "You have killed thousands of our people. What could you possibly have to say to us?" Captain Jin was quiet for a moment, and when she spoke again, her voice was heavy with an emotion no one had expected from a human regret. "We did not want to come back," she said. 50,000 years ago, we left this galaxy because we finally understood what we were. We were destroyers, killers, the thing that every other species should fear. We decided to exile ourselves rather than continue the hunt. Captain June felt confused. This was not what any of them had expected to hear. "Then why did you return? Why bring death back to our galaxy?" Jin's face showed real fear now, because we were not the only predators in the universe. Out there, beyond the edge of your galaxy, we found something that makes our worst instincts look like mercy. We have been fighting it for 50,000 years, trying to keep it away from you. The bridge of every ship in the fleet fell silent. As the implications of her words sank in, Dr. Hannah's voice came over the communication system from her research ship. Captain Jin, what do you mean? What did you find out there? We call them the Devourers, Jin replied. They are not like us. We hunted for sport, for the challenge. They consume everything, not just intelligent life, but all life. They turn entire worlds into dead rock, and then move on to the next system. Her tactical display, Jin showed images that made everyone watching feel sick. Worlds that had been stripped completely bare, with not even bacteria left alive. Solar systems, where every planet had been reduced to lifeless stone. We have been running from them for millennia, Jin continued. We built a barrier of fortified worlds at the galaxy's edge, using ourselves as bait to keep them focused on us. Instead of you, but the barrier has failed. As if summoned by her words, new contacts appeared on the long-range sensors. But these were not ships. They were something else entirely. Massive, organic structures that pulsed with dark energy, each one the size of a small moon. Lieutenant Minho's voice was barely a whisper. Sir, there are hundreds of them. They're bigger than anything we have ever seen. Captain Jin turned to look at something off-screen, and when she looked back, her face was grim. They followed us here. The Devourers have found your galaxy, and they are hungry. Admiral Yen stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. Why should we believe you? How do we know this is not another human trick? In response, Jin transmitted data files that had been recorded over 50,000 years of conflict. The files showed human worlds being consumed by the Devourers. Entire human fleets being destroyed by creatures that seem to absorb energy and matter equally. We lost 90% of our species fighting them, Jin said quietly. The few thousand of us who remain are all that is left of humanity. We are not conquerors anymore. We are refugees. Dr. Hannah studied the transmitted data and felt her crystal body dim with horror. Captain June, these readings are authentic. The Devourers are real, and they are already entering our galaxy. Across space, ancient human warning beacons began activating one by one. These devices had been hidden throughout the galaxy for 50,000 years, waiting for this moment. Each beacon broadcast the same message in every known language. There. Coming. We're sorry. We tried to keep them away. Captain Jin looked directly at Admiral Yin. We know you have no reason to trust us. We know what we were, what we did to your ancestors. But right now, we are the only ones who know how to fight. The Devourers. We need each other if any of us are going to survive. The shadows at the edge of the galaxy grew larger as more Devourer entities emerged from the void between galaxies. They moved with purpose, heading straight for the most populated systems. Admiral. Yan looked at the tactical display, then at the human captain on her screen. The choice was impossible. Trust their ancient enemies or face the unknown horror alone. What do you propose? She asked finally. We fight together, Jin replied. Or we all die together. Those are the only options left. The age of human dominance was over. The age of survival had begun.